Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world. Welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. I had an ingrown toenail for the past month on my right foot, big toe, right side. It's not been getting better. It's been getting worse. Currently soaking my foot in some warm Epsom salt water. Foot is bleeding. Not fun. Around Battler was a swirl of glowing fragments, sparkling like the night sky. And on the floor was what appeared to be a red magic circle. To an outsider, it would seem nothing more than incomprehensible geometric shape. But to Battler, who stood at its center, by the way, I've had a bit of a cold recently. My voice was a little bit scratchy. I don't know if it's noticeable. It was the outline for a new tale. A new line grew across the magic circle, following Battler's gaze. Then, at the instant it connected with a complicated symbol, the entire magic circle flashed brightly. So, how does it look? It is splendid, Master. The 6th game is complete. As Battler wiped his forehead and finally relaxed, Genji, who was standing behind him and watching over his every move, nodded deeply in response. I always thought being a game master meant you could make the tale however you want. But this is seriously harder than I thought. You must write up multiple tales and make the inner and outsides of the story match. Though truly you have displayed such skill, it is hard to believe that this is your first time. I believe even Erika-sama will be satisfied with this game. But hopefully it matches that great detective's tastes. Still, I've got to honestly respect Beato now. I can hardly believe that she managed to make tales that complicated and do it so easily. Easily? Far from it. Beatrice-sama also worried, racking her brain over various contradictions each time she created a tale. She was constantly battling with logic errors. Logic errors? That is when the two sides of the tale do not meet, creating a contradiction. When this happens, it becomes a fatal violation of the rules, known as a logic error, and the game board will immediately collapse and be destroyed. It is the greatest and worst form of error that the witch side can make, and one which must always be avoided. So Beato got close to bumping into those many times in her games? She fought with them every time she created a game. I believe it grew even more difficult for her as you became a more formidable opponent. So, do you think this game I have made is good enough to show Beato? Yes, of course. Beato hasn't woken up yet, has she? It's been a while since her body was formed as a personification of the rules. Is she still not awake? After remaining silent for a while longer, Genji answered. She woke up 3 days ago. You were concentrating on the construction of the 6th game, so I decided to wait before telling you my sincere apologies. Oh, really? Yeah, I'll bet she's still all drowsy after sleeping so long. I've really wanted to show her my game. No, it's more than that. I have to show her. I need to tell her that I've understood everything. Battler's face broke into a smile. There was no trace in his expression of the hatred he had once felt towards Beato for murdering his family. In a way, that was the final riddle of the 5th game. Yes, when Battler reached the truth, there was a great change in his impression of Beato. So, should we assume that there really was something between Oni-chan and Beato and that he forgot all about it? However, Battler suspected this in the 4th game and asked Beato about it. According to this tale, this was denied by the Red Truth. 6 years ago, no person called Beatrice existed for Battler. Yes, it's almost like the person who became Beatrice was a different person, who also exists in the tale. We can read this as saying that Beato did not exist 6 years ago, or it could simply mean that she had no connection to Battler at that time. However, either way, Battler did not visit Rock and Dream at all for the next 6 years. October 4th, 1986 should have been the first time Beatrice and Oni-chan met. If so, why was there already some kind of antagonism between them? I don't have a clue what it means. That sin of Ushiromiya Battler's, which Beato took Battler to task for in the 4th game, might give us a clue. The result of that might have been Beatrice herself. The result? The result of Oni-chan's sin was Beato? That almost sounds as though Oni-chan created the witch called Beatrice himself. Almost as though Beatrice was Battler's piece. Huh? Battler sinned 6 years ago. Because of that sin, people died. The one doing the killing was Beatrice. If you consider the possibility that everything is connected to Battler's sin 6 years ago, then the one who created Beatrice was Battler himself. I thought it sounded almost as though she was Battler's piece. I don't get it. Even if Oni-chan sinned in some way, his crime couldn't have been anything close to murder. If this huge massacre is in retaliation for what he did, then it's totally out of proportion. Beato killed our family, Dad, Mom, Oni-chan, everyone. I can't believe that Oni-chan's sin was anything deserving of that. The weight of a sin depends on the person measuring it. Even a sin so light that Battler might have forgotten could have been so serious to Beato that she hated him enough to massacre his whole family a full 6 years after the fact. Well, even if I find that a bit excessive, even I find that a bit excessive, and more importantly, if she were a person like that, I would find it hard to accept that Battler would act so friendly towards her after discovering the truth. Featherine's observation was an interesting one. In a past game, Beato clearly said that Oni-chan's sin 6 years ago was the cause of this 2-day tragedy. I still don't know what kind of sin that was, however he figured out what it was at the end of the 5th game. And he even apologized to Beato, even though she was the witch who had massacred his entire family in retaliation for his sin of 6 years previous. Battler apologized to her. Of course, it was the player Battler who apologized, not the piece Battler whose family had been murdered over and over again. But even so, Battler must have remembered something at the end of the last game that made him feel like apologizing. Does that mean the sin from 6 years ago is hidden somewhere in the tales we've seen so far? I have already formed a certain theory on that matter. Oh? Let's hear it. I cannot tell you yet. I want to enjoy being the only one who knows the answer for a little while longer. Well then, I guess I'm done reading for you. Well, we can't have that, can we? Have some patience and read a bit further. My theory is still nothing more than a guess. Once I'm certain of it, I'll tell you. Okay, my master. I actually do want to hear what comes next after all. Just what kind of connection do Oni-chan and Beatrice have with each other? Understanding that will probably give me a massive clue towards finding the truth of this world. After all, because he remembered that, he was able to reach the truth. Beatrice. Welcome, Master. Beatrice-sama is waiting for you. This way, please. This place was a villa set aside for Beatrice's use. It was a sacred site for her only, built so that she could spend her days without being affected by the outside world. My heart began to race. I'm so glad that she was able to revive, and that everything's okay. Beato is a personification of the rules. So, even though she was destroyed once, it's possible for her to be reborn again. Battler had quickly succeeded in reviving Beato's body, but he'd had trouble summoning her soul back. However, during the time he'd spent immersed in the creation of the 6th game, she had woken up, and this had happened 3 days ago. Battler let himself be led into the dining hall. The dining hall had been set up for his and Beato's use. It existed so that they could enjoy some black tea while having conversations that were only possible now that he had reached all of the truth. I want to tell her. I want to tell Beato that I've found the truth. Battler couldn't hold back his excitement over this miracle he'd been granted, the miracle of Beato waiting for him in the dining hall to hear what he had to say. How is Beatrice? Same as usual? Is she doing well? Oh yes, she is doing quite well. She has been waiting for you all this time, Master. Oh yes. So, she's in the dining hall. Is she eating or something? Ah, that's okay. It doesn't matter either way. Oh, you'll be surprised. Beatrice. When he swung open the doors to the dining hall, Battler was greeted by a wonderful sight. Though the food laid out on the table wasn't particularly sensational, it was arranged beautifully, and a champagne bottle stood there waiting. Then the person clad in that familiar dress, with the beautiful golden hair, bowed deeply in greeting. But Beatrice, you have my sincerest gratitude for giving me this form. Come on, don't worry about that. I'm so glad, Beato. Battler rushed up to Beato and hugged her tightly, just to make sure her body wasn't just mist or an illusion. I solved your riddle for you, but then, before I could tell you about it, you went and disappeared. I am right here. I will not disappear. It's okay, you can stop talking like that. I'm not going to ask you for anything in return. Anyway, I want to apologize and I want to talk with you. I don't even know where I should start. You have done nothing that you need to apologize for, Father. I'm glad just to be of service to you. Beato? Beatrice was born for your sake, Father. Please let me support you. And Father, congratulations on completing the 6th game. I told you, stop talking like that. You're creeping me out. Do you find the style of speech displeasing? It sounds like the Lunar D8 default way of speaking. At least when I'm in a relaxed state. Please forgive my rudeness. No, it's not rude at all. I actually do like the way she's talking it. Well, I don't find it displeasing, but it's not like you. I guess I like the way you usually talk best. Beato smiled vaguely. To Battler, it probably looked as though they were both smiling at the unusual way she was talking. However, Beato's smile literally was vague and uncertain. After all, she didn't know how she was supposed to talk. Anyway, Beato, just what kind of joke is this? Don't tell me that the great Beatrice-sama decided to cook for me. When I heard that you had completed the 6th game, I wanted to see if I could prepare a modest reward to congratulate you. I mean, I appreciate this. Ho ho ho, Beatrice-sama really worked hard to make this. I didn't even need to lend a hand at all. No, I didn't. Either way, I appreciate it very much that she was so thoughtful to do such a thing. That's really nice. The food set on the table really was modest and inexpertly made. But, I mean, it literally appears to be made with a lot of love, so that's what matters most. You could tell by looking at it that Beato, who wasn't particularly skilled cooking, had given it her all. However, signs of discomfort and irritation were beginning to appear on Battler's face. What's going on here? Well, as she said, Beatrice-sama wishes to congratulate you. Sweat was starting to show up on Kumasawa's forehead. She was also feeling uneasy when he noticed. Battler realized that it wasn't just his imagination. Beato turned her back to Battler and stuck a corkscrew in the champagne bottle. Then she showed it to Battler. Either way, I appreciate the effort that she's put into this. Father, congratulations on the completion of the 6th game, in the hopes that you will prove victorious over your longtime rival, Furudo Erika. Pop. When presented with a champagne bottle and a sound like that, anyone would think that the cork had been pulled out. However, it wasn't the cork, it was the bottom of the bottle. Oh, what? Did the bottle break? I'm confused. When the high-quality champagne that Beato had procured splashed out all over the floor and her dress. Well, that's horrible. I don't understand why that occurred. I'm more concerned about, obviously it sucks that she's wet and sticky and her dress is dirty, but I'm more concerned the fact that, okay, a champagne bottle broke and there's glass. Did the glass cut her in any way? Then the same sound repeated several times more. I don't understand. Each time one of the plates of food on the table was knocked into the air. Okay. Father, did you find the food displeasing? Who are you? I mean, obviously she's doesn't really remember a lot of certain things, but regardless of any of that, it's not very nice to her for you to... Did you break the bottle? I mean, it's pretty fucked up if you did. I am Beatrice. I was born for your sake, Father. That's not right. Huh? Who is this? This isn't Beato. And anyway, don't call me Father. What's going on here? What is this? Didn't I revive Beato? Genji, what's this all about? My apologies, but this is indeed Beatrice-sama. Are you kidding me? How is this supposed to be Beato? She's totally wrong, a fake. No, this is Beatrice-sama. This is, without a doubt, Beatrice-sama, who was born in accordance with the rules of the game board. No, this isn't anything like Beato. Beato would always talk in that weird way and laugh rudely and... No, this is most certainly Beatrice-sama herself. Then why is she talking like that? Why is she calling me Father? But Beatrice-sama was only born a short while ago. It would be far too cruel to expect her to act as she once did so soon. Are you saying that her memory hasn't returned yet? Master, this person truly is Beatrice-sama herself. However, she is not the Beatrice-sama you know so well. What are you talking about? I'm the game master, right? It's more so, she's the same person, it's just, think more like parallel universe sort of thing. It's like, or just, it's her, but lacking, like it's the right conditions, but it's the different experiences. a person's memories can mold and shape them as a person. Why can't I revive Beato? Beatrice-sama has revived. However, the old Beatrice-sama lived for 1,000 years. This Beatrice-sama, on the other hand, was only born a short while ago. If she appears to be a different person, well, that just can't be helped. Then, how can I revive that Beato? Her body is right here. How can I revive her soul? If she lives the same 1,000-year life again, she should become the same Beatrice-sama she was before. Are you telling me to wait 1,000 years? A person's personality isn't decided solely by their birth. It can change drastically based on how they live and what they experience. I mean, it's still the same Beatrice, and regardless of anything, you shouldn't be mean to her. Not her fault. Do you understand? Even though she is the same Beato, she is not the same. I get it. Even if you had two of the exact same person, they could change enormously depending on their upbringing. Even though they might be both the same human to start with, their upbringing could change them so much that they effectively become two completely different people. Usually we use the term person to refer to a person, not their personality. However, since humans recognize a person by the personality, those two might as well be different people from a human perspective. That's so true. If that tragedy 12 years ago hadn't happened, this little lady of ours might be a cute girl who could smile without looking weird. That's rude. I'm plenty cute as it is. I understand. If a personality is what makes a person in our eyes, you could probably say that a second personality represents a different person entirely, even if it inhabits the same flesh body. Fuck, that hurt. I moved my foot and I hit it moderately hard enough. Well, at least basically I moved my foot forward and that hurt. At the very least, I'm a completely different person than I used to be 12 years ago, and if my family had come home 12 years ago, then the Angie that resulted would surely be a completely different person from me. Even a single human can become a different person, and in fact, depending on their upbringing and endless possibilities, they can become an endless number of different people. So just because this is Beato, that's no guarantee that she'll become the Beato that Oni-chan knows so well. And on top of that, Beatrice is a witch who lived 1,000 years. People can die and be reborn in just 3 days. 1,000 years is such a huge amount of time. It seems you're quite a skilled reader. For the most of my readers, it would be necessary to spend several hundred pages to explain how a single person can become a different person depending on their upbringing and time. Don't underestimate your readers. We aren't just reading. We read and we think. If I make 100 people read it, about 90 will be able to. However, only 50 will actually understand what it means, and not even 20 will actually think beyond that. All I ask is that they think it over a bit. Nothing more than that. Giggle. However, it seems that you are one of those precious 20 readers. That's why I invited you here, child of man. It was seriously hard to like this Toya person. However, this forgery she had written was still in its first stages. It definitely felt as though it contained something very similar to the tales in those message bottles. Speaking metaphorically, one might call it a scent, an indescribably unique and stern atmosphere, like a stuffy library. The Beatrice who wrote the message bottles and Toya are different people, and yet this has the same scent as that tale. I see. This is why some of those curious witch hunters are so intensely devoted to her. Their keen sense of smell was able to sniff out that familiar scent. Very well then, please continue reading. There could be nothing more entertaining than watching your face as you glance over the words. That and speaking with you. I guess it's true that writers are always starving for opinions on their works. However, sorry to disappoint you, I don't have the time to read all the way through this thick manuscript. More importantly, and yet you have plenty of time. Both the secondhand and the pendulum of the ornate clock behind have been moving the whole time. However, absolutely no time had passed for a while now. Only about 3 minutes had gone by since the time she had entered the room. See, time isn't one of your problems. No sort of time will chase you away until you've finished reading. Next page, lady, next page. Amakusa badgered me to turn the page, so I returned to the world of that tale once more. Why does her tail have the same scent as Beatrice's? I wonder, is it because she actually has reached the truth as she claims? Does this mean that anyone who knows the truth could create an endless number of message bottles? Is that how the cat box world works? I see. I guess she might also be an endless witch. In fact, maybe anyone who knows the truth can become an endless witch. An endless tale created by the endless witches. The 2 days starting on October 4th, 1986, where my family is being toyed with endlessly. I have to end it. I have to find a hint of the truth from within this story and end this endless tale. What do you think, Beato? How's the 6th game I've made? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. In all seriousness, thanks for stopping by. I know I'm a bit tsundere, but I do appreciate you guys watching the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Hope you have all the hugs and head pats you could ever want or need, and later, guys. Bye.